So I wanted to share with you the what I started in the beginning. So the foghorn went off this morning, and I don't know. I mean, so all I remember is looking at the clock, and it was 2:10, and so I'm aware. Then I'm going to this thought. I'm thinking this and thinking this and thinking this. I think, so the mind was alert and awake. It was really alert and really awake, and was just kind of like dancing from this thought to this thought to this thought to this thought. Not restless. It wasn't restless. I was kind of restful and peaceful, and that foghorn was coming through. It was a foggy night, but the mind was just kind of just dancing with some thought. So then came this idea of, why don't I just let myself listen to that foghorn as a way to keep me awake, keep me calm, and just to maintain awareness. So I did that, and it was really wonderful. It went on and on. So and so then eventually, sort of like the mind slipped into a fairly deep kind of meditation. So I thought about that a lot, and afterwards this morning, and I wanted to suggest to you all, first of all. So I was going to call this. Is this on here either? God, what did I do? It's not on here either. All right. Making an entry. That's a very big deal in Zen Buddhism. Making an entry. Having an entry into what? Into the mind. How do you enter the mind? When I was lying in bed listening to that foghorn, something occurred to me. First of all, I realized that the mind was kind of lost in thinking. I mean, there was that awareness that the mind was lost in thinking. Not bad thinking, not good thinking. It was just the mind was thinking. So then came this awareness that if the mind is lost in thinking, then there was this idea of trying to let go of thinking. And how does one do that? Well, so as I said, I just use the foghorn as my meditation object. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's you have to first become aware that you're lost in thought. You have to. You have to see that when you're sitting for 15 minutes or 30 minutes. You have to see that the mind is lost in thought. And that's the only way that there's the possibility to move out of that kind of thing. And that's what I call an entrance. An entrance into the mind is that you begin to turn away from just this kind of, it's thinking, and you go back and sort of like you become more and more a witness to the mind. So that brought me back to this wonderful poem which I wanted to bring you, that I read 40 years ago, and I have never let it go. And I wanted to share it with you all right now. And then again, just kind of as we're continuing to think about this idea of entry into the mind. I want you to kind of remember that maybe later on today. I want you to remember that there's a capacity. You have a capacity to enter the mind. It's not easy to do, but we have that ability. So Ramakrishna, who was probably the first spiritual teacher that ever rang my bell, when I was about 30 years old, I never ever quite detached from that idea. Ramakrishna, I don't know if you know who he is. He died about 1850, I believe, or 60 in India, and it's still considered to be probably the holiest man in India. There's a Ramakrishna order right here in Orange County. They have a monastery. So this is what he said. Dwell, O mind, within yourself. Cassie's going, what? Well, that to some extent is the entry. But that's what we were asked to do when we're sitting. Dwell, O mind, within yourself. Enter no other's home. Thinking about, does anybody think about anything other than, right? I mean, dwelling within yourself. You're like, entering another home is like, isn't that what we just do, right? Constantly, well, think about, Obama, Trump, mom, dad, brother, whatever. We're always going into some other home, rather than the mind itself. Dwell, O mind, within yourself. Enter no other's home. If you but seek there, you will find all you are searching for. Who believes that? Can you believe that if you really can do that, you'll find everything you're searching for? That everything you're searching for is within the mind itself? If you but seek there, you will find all you are searching for. Now, this is kind of like for those of us who have been burned by Christianity. We will, so this next line we're not going to particularly like, but this is a Hindu speaking. This is Ramakrishna, who was certainly hardly coming from a Trinitarian view. But anyway, so he says, God, the true philosopher's stone, who answers every prayer, lies hidden deep within your heart, the richest gem of all. What is it they say in AA? The God as you, I don't know how to say it, but whatever that means to you. So in the same way, what he is talking about is that there's this ineffable presence, this unknown mystery, this source, this ground that is your essence and my essence. He's calling it God, but you can call it whatever you want. But he is saying that there is this presence, this ground, this light that is the essence of the mind. It's always there. It never goes anywhere. It was there when I woke up at 2 in the morning, right? And it's here. And has it moved? Has it moved and changed since? No, it's always there, always present. God, the true philosopher's stone, who answers every prayer, lies hidden deep within your heart, the richest gem of all. How many pearls and precious stones are scattered all about the outer court that lies before the chamber of your heart? I have said this has been for me a very, for 40 years. I actually put it on the little altar in Crete, right? When I was there for 3 months. It was on my little altar, read it every day. Dwell within yourself, O mind, and enter no other's home. I mean, just think about the capacity to do that, to dwell within yourself and to enter no other's home. It's extraordinary. So I was talking about the entry, making an entry into the mind. Now that's the conundrum. How do you step into your own mind, Andrew? How do you step into your own mind? Does anybody got an idea? I mean, I don't. You can't. The self can't do it. The little me, it has to not be. It's the whole thing. Is what Nisargadatta said, right? You've got to stop being a person. That little person, that little Travis, can't enter that sacred space. That little Victor can't enter that sacred space. That little Eric can't enter that sacred space. the price of admission is being the capacity to let go of that little personality. Not easy, but it is doable. You can do it, and I can do it. So I'm going to suggest to you, and it sounds like I'm bragging, and I probably am, that for however it is possible, why it is or whatever it is, and maybe it's just as Jane and I we've just been doing this for so long. I don't know. But I was able to enter the mind by letting go of this little Victor. So they were just lying in bed and listening to that foghorn for 1 hour and 20 minutes. It was just wonderful. It always came back. When this little mind drifted off into any thought, the mind came right back. So it was like this wonderful meditation on a sound. And the only way it happened was that Victor, who was born in 1941 in Knoxville, Tennessee, was not there. It was just the mind listening and meditating. And I think that so the entry into, or what Ramakrishna said when he says, dwell within yourself, O mind, that entry requires letting go of me, Cassie, me, Don, me. I want this, I need this, right? I am right. My feelings are right. I know that this country is going to hell in a bucket because this awful, horrible man was elected president. Or I know that this country is going to be wonderful now because we got rid of that Obama who was doing all these, that me that has to be right, that knows it's right. And I think that, those are kind of extreme, but it's less than that. It's, I'm right about, I'm driving down the road and someone pulls out in front of me. I'm right about that, you idiot. All the ways that the ego self comes up and says, I am right. I am really right. And you're probably wrong because you're not me. So that softening of the ego is, I think, what this practice is all about. It is certainly the radical teaching of the Buddha. So when I go to Tennessee and experience wonderful people, one of the things that, they don't really have is this idea that, there ain't nobody inside, there ain't no you inside. Why? So that's a very special thing for us. I mean, to be introduced to have the extraordinary, I would call it karma. I think that everybody who has come to this teaching, it's not an accident. But this idea that the Buddha has said to us, that as long as I cling to this little self, I will suffer. I have to suffer. There's no way I can't suffer. If I cling to this little self, number one, it thinks it's a body. And this body is growing old fairly rapidly, I'd like to say. So if I'm in this sinking boat, as Ruth Dennison used to say, she says, life is a canoe with holes in it. I love that. I heard her say that, a long time ago. Life is, we're all in a canoe that's got holes in it. If you think you're the canoe, you're in big trouble. I'm in big trouble. So what can I do? I'll go to a plastic surgeon and have a facelift on this canoe. That's going to work, right? Or all of the little, or I could go to a gym and work out and get this canoe and get some muscles on this canoe. None of it's going to work because of the universal law of anicca, of impermanence. So I'll just throw this out because I'm finished. By the way, what time is it? Is that right? I looked up my watch is screwed up. What?
Let me check. It's right.
Well, I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. What was I saying? What was I talking about? Do you remember what I was saying?
Your facelift.
What?
Impermanent.
The law of impermanence means that everything changes. Nothing stays the same. If we're clinging to the idea that things stay the same, forget, again, this little self. But I've always loved this is what I'm throwing out. I've always loved, and this is really quite brilliant, the Hindus were not, they're no slouches when it comes to being, pretty brilliant. So the Hindus, rather than having a Holy Trinity of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, the Trinity has Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu. Y'all know that? Does everyone know that? Did you know that, Travis? So when I went to Angkor Wat in Cambodia, just this past 3 weeks, which is an extraordinary ruin, I thought it was a Buddhist temple. It's Vishnu. It's the temple to Vishnu. Who knew that? So Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the preserver, and Shiva, who's the god of yoga, is the destroyer. We got to have all three. We have to have all three. It's like I used to love the image of when the Nile would flood, in Egypt. Originally, all of the land along the Nile was extraordinarily rich. They fed much of the world with their food until the English came in and built dams and ruined the entire economy. That's beside the point. The English are always saving the humans. They ruined the Egyptian economy, but that's fine. I love the English. We're English, and some of us are. So Vishnu is that aspect that destroys, that comes in and is the Nile that washes, that floods, right? Floods through. And then from the flood comes the recreation. And then comes the other aspect of preservation. But I just suggest to you that we are probably living in a time of Shiva. There's a little Shiva going on. And many of us are having, it's like we're clinging. We don't want this to happen. We don't want all of this, like this. But the truth is, you can't have spring without winter. It's just not possible. You can't have spring without winter. So if you take the long view meaning that there's creation, preservation, and destruction, and then comes creation. Then or just the law of, as the Buddha taught, the law of impermanence. I think that a longer view can give you some perspective, rather than being all of us being so completely embedded in this, like, my view is correct right now, So that also is free of charge. I'm giving a lot of stuff out for free here today. I'm gonna read this one more time because I love it, and I think that I'll have Travis put it on the website for you. Okay. When you're sitting, and when we're sitting here, just that thought as an aspiration Dwell, O mind, within yourself. Enter no other's home. That's pretty good, right? Right? I mean, we could do worse. That as an aspiration. Dwell, O mind, within yourself. Enter no other's home. If you but seek there, you will find all you are searching for. God, the true philosopher's stone, who answers every prayer, lies hidden deep within your heart, the richest gem of all. How many pearls and precious stones are scattered all about the outer court that lies before the chamber of your heart? That's talking about something really quite sacred. It's quite sacred. And it is really what we are. And the only problem is, in that sacred place, the little self has got to stand outside the door. He just can't come in. We have to let that go in order to dwell and enter into the mind itself. That's all I have to say. By the way, it's lovely being here. Glad you're here.